Hi everybody, welcome back or welcome to the Cozy Cardigans podcast. My name is Mel and I'm the owner and dyer of Big Little Yarn Co. As you can see, I'm at the studio again. Sorry everyone for such a late September wrap-up update. I've been super busy trying to get pretty much the last of the pre-orders for Spooky Summer and Ghibli Season 1 out, so those are all done. I am just gonna put this out there just to have it out of the way. I am going to have my last update, my last shop update of 2023 will be October 22nd at 10 a.m. Japan Standard Time, which is the 21st in the US, 6 p.m. PST and 9 p.m. EST on the 21st in the US. So if you're interested in getting any of the extras, there's a lot of yokai collection extras, lots of spooky summer collection extras. I do have both extras from 2022 and 2023 for spooky summer. So if you're interested in like oldies but goodies like Hereditary and Ju-on and Ningu things that have not been available this year, those will also be available. I do have an Excel sheet of all the things that will be available. There's lots of discounted oopsie skeins available too. So if you're interested in any of that, I'll put the link below for the Excel sheet that lists all the colorways and quantities that will be available for that. Or you could also sign up for my newsletter and I'll share all the little bits and bobs about that update through email. But yeah, so if you're interested in having like some Big Little Yarn Co. yarn, now's the time. It's all ready to ship, so you don't have to wait like a bajillion years for me to tie the yarn. Just kidding, I don't take a bajillion years. I take like about 4 to 5 weeks. But anyways, yeah, so there's that. So yeah, let's just get started. That's pretty much all the little shop admin stuff, I think. Yeah, right now I'm just dyeing up wholesale orders and getting those out the door, and also packing all the countdown boxes as well. Those will be hopefully out the door by the end of October, maybe first week of November. Plenty of time for it to arrive to your home for the holidays. At the end of November, I will be going back to the US with Tim and Evie, so that we could spend our holidays together with the family for the first time in like 3 years. And for Evie, it'll be his first time spending holidays with his grandparents and his uncles, so that'll be fun. And I won't be back in Japan till the end of February. So if you are hoping for some Big Little Yarn Co. yarn, now's the time, because I won't be dyeing any yarn till like March of 2024. So yeah, that'll be fun. But anyways, let's move on. So I'm currently wearing, it's a bit wrinkled because this was in like storage till now. It's finally gotten, it's not chilly yet, it's autumn, but it's like unseasonably warm, but still cool enough to be able to wear like fingering weight sweaters. So I'm currently wearing, I made this in like 2022. This is the Ornata blouse. I test knitted this. It's by Teti of PetiteKnit Gardens, Teti Litzak. I test knitted this for her in like 2022. But yeah, I love it. This is kind of like one of those makes where you can only wear it in like a little space, like a little, only for like a little bit of time during the year. So this is very autumnal, like you can only wear it when it's like the light jacket kind of weather, so which is kind of now. It's still a little bit warm. I feel like I could still wear this for like the next couple of weeks if I wanted to. But yeah, it's got these colorwork sleeves, big colorwork sleeves, and it's got this really cute picot edge, wide neck, and then it's cropped. It's also kind of like got gathers here which I really like, and is kind of big ruined by my wrinkles, so I apologize, but maybe you could kind of see the gathers a bit here. And yeah, so I made, this is Positive Ease. The main colorway is from Positive Ease. I don't remember the colorway name, so I'll just put it up on the screen, but it's this really lovely like warm gray, and it's got hints of blue in it, which I really like. Kind of like reminds me of like patinaed coppery metal, like warm rustiness. And so, and then also the, call it contrast color, is this orange, which is kabocha from my own yarn company. It's just this like kabocha orange, pumpkin orange color. I think it plays really well with like the coppery bits that are in the main color. So yeah, sorry, but yep, that's what I'm wearing right now. So it's nice to be able to finally wear my knits slowly. I have mostly DK weight sweaters. I only have maybe 3 or 4 fingering weight sweaters, so I'm still kind of waiting to be able to wear most of my knits. But yeah, anyways, this is nice. I haven't been able to wear this in a while. I don't think I really wore this last year, because last year I was breastfeeding, and this kind of difficult top to like wear if you're breastfeeding a child. I don't know, maybe some people might be okay with it, but I was pretty I just like wore button downs like all year last year. So this is the ornata blouse. So let's move on. I do have some finished objects, not for me, but for Evie. I have been working on his winter wardrobe. I kind of finished these, and now I'm working on my winter wardrobe now. But anyway, so I finished these first. You've seen one of them, and the other one I knitted so fast I didn't even get to introduce it to you last episode. But first one is this. This is the Friday Sweater Mini by PetiteKnit. It's all done. So cute. I shoved it on him, and he really likes it. He like, when I tell him it's a sweater, he always asks for it. So it's so cute, but it's still a little bit too warm for him to wear right now. So it hasn't been worn really yet. He's just tried it on. But yeah, Friday Sweater Mini. This is the, let me see, I wrote down all the info. Let me check so I don't mess it up. Friday Sweater Mini. Oh, it's the size 2 to 3 years. It's the size 2 to 3 years old. Evie is 1.5 now. He just became 1.5, so this is a little big for him. It's a bit long on the leg, or the body, and the sleeves, but I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. He'll grow into, it kind of looks like an oversized sweater on him right now, which is kind of cute anyways, so I don't really mind. I just roll up his sleeves as needed. But the yarn, just really quickly, I've talked about it in my previous episodes, so just really quickly, it's Knitting for Olive Merino. The gray is Marzipan, the blue is Deep Petroleum Blue, and I love how it looks. It is so cute. I love how squishy the broken rib stitch looks, and I also really love how these yoke increases look. It's such a nice, classy sweater. I do want to make another one for him, like as he grows older. I think that it goes up to like, I want to say 5 or 6 years old or so. So there's plenty of opportunity to knit more for him. But yeah, this is really cute and just like a classic sweater that he can throw on when he plays outside. So that's one FO, and the other FO I have not woven in the end, so please excuse that, but I made one of these last year for Evie, and it worked. It was like such a nice thing to have, so I made another one. This is the Baby Bear Balaclava by Pernille Larsen, and I'll put a picture up of younger 1 year ago baby Effie wearing it. And last year I didn't use Suri silk lace. It calls for DK weight yarn, or it calls for a fingering weight and a Suri, like a lace weight held together to make like a DK-ish yarn. I just ended up last year using 1 strand of DK, but this year I ended up doing what the pattern called for, so 1 fingering weight and 1 lace weight. And what you do is you hold the fingering weight, so the non-fuzzy yarn, double for the brim so it doesn't like get up all on their face, and then the fuzzy bits are all over in there. So these like cute little bear ears here. So made an updated version for him. I still have to weave in the ends, but the main, like the fingering weight bit, kind of see here, I don't have the balls of yarn with me, but this is just scrap yarn I've had. The main fingering weight is Bramble from my yarn shop. It's like a bit of an older colorway. I've had this like kind of leftover skein from a sample I've made from a while ago, so I just ended up using it for him. So the fingering weight yarn is this Bramble, and it's just super wash merino fingering. And then the brown Suri silk lace, I wonder if I have any, I'm not sure. It might be just around. I'm not sure if I have any more here. Well, I have it in. So this is technically the brown. This is Pung from my season 1 Ghibli yarn club. So this was the corresponding tonal for this year's club. So this is what it truly looks like, but I've held it together with the Bramble, which is kind of like a purpley brown. So as you can see, it kind of turns into like a more mottled purple, warm purple brown. So I really like that, but this is going to be available and ready to ship. I do have some extras of that if you're interested. But anyways, yeah, just like a simple hat for him to like cover his ears. It does get pretty cold. It gets cold here. I don't know about, we're gonna be in San Diego for most of our US trip, so I'm pretty sure it's not gonna get that cold, but it's still nice to like be able to cover his ears without having to use like earmuffs or something. And also I get to see little bear ears on him. So yep, this is the other FOs, just 2 little toddler FOs. He's not a baby, he's a toddler now. So anyways, yeah, those are the FOs. Hopefully I have another one to show you next time, but anyways, let's move on to the whips. So I've been working on 3 things lately. I know last time I've talked to you, I was talking about how I'm not gonna do any test knits, you know, trying to be a monogamous knitter. Okay, I failed. Okay, I applied for a test knit and I got in, so now I'm doing a test knit. But to be fair, the deadline was quite long. Like, she gave us lots of time to knit, and also as long as you're very open about your scheduling, and like if you have any scheduling issues, like if it's going to take you longer to do, she's like totally open for you to take a little bit more time. So anyways, yeah, so this is a test knit I'm doing for Inez of Vert Knit. She is updating her, whatchamacallit, CardiJumper. She has a pattern called the CardiJumper that is already available on Ravelry, and I believe on her website, but she is updating it. She's updating like the fitting, how it fits, and she also is including another version of the CardiJumper within the same pattern. So you could, it's technically like almost like having 2 cardigan patterns ish in one. So her original version, the CardiJumper, is fingering weight cardigan and is cropped. It looks really cute buttoned up. I'll put a picture up. It's like a little buttoned up. You could wear it as a top kind of cardigan. That's why it's called a CardiJumper. But she is also making the Mariniere. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's the Mariniere version, which I'm test knitting, and that is kind of like a different fit version of the jumpers. So it has similar cropped fit. The sleeves though are wider and longer, and also the ribbing is a bit longer as well. And then also fit wise, the original CardiJumper has decreases on the body, so it has a bit more fitted silhouette, but the Mariniere version, which is what I'm doing, it's just straight body. So, and then also the button band is bigger on the Mariniere version, I believe, so you use bigger buttons. So there's like these little bits and pieces that are a bit different from the original CardiJumpers, so you could choose which cardigan to knit when you buy the pattern, which is really cool, because then it's like having two, again, it's like having two patterns in one. So this is the Mariniere version that I'm test knitting, and it looks like this for now. So those of you who have been here know that I like to knit the sleeves first when it comes to garments. So I knitted this first sleeve. Oh, and also the Mariniere version has stripes. So there's that. And right now I'm in the process of knitting the second sleeve. And this is the body. It's kind of hard to tell because it's all squished, but it's like a V-neck, has a V-neck neckline. And I kind of messed up already because you're technically supposed to start the stripes quite a bit earlier, like right over here. But I totally forgot about stripes and just ended up, I didn't want to go back and like redo all the striping because it's a lot. So I ended up just starting the stripes on the bottom, which I think is gonna be fine. It's fine. It's just stripes. I think like once you see how the body and the arms kind of lay, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, no one's gonna know. No one's gonna know. So anyways, that's the only difference between mine and the original pattern. I ended up starting the stripes a bit late, but otherwise, obviously, I'm knitting it to pattern other than a couple things on the arms. But let me just start with the yarn. So I am knitting it with Olann Meara, which is their fingering weight, or no, I think they also have DK weight too, but it's Olann's mill yarn. So Olann is a yarn dyer slash mill, yarn mill in Ireland. She kind of has taken a step back from dyeing and milling yarn, but she does have like sometimes has updates every now and then, small scale wise. But this is from her 2022 countdown calendar that she released pre-orders. She released pre-orders for like full-size skeins after the countdown ended. So this is from her 2022 countdown calendar. This is the colorway Afterlife, which is, let me see, wow. This is really pretty. Kind of, I don't know, it's like grayish brown. I don't know if you could tell. It's like a light grayish brown, and it's got some, let me see, it's got some purpley magenta bits in there. I don't know if you could see that very well, but hopefully you can. But it's got this really pretty, it's like pinkish magenta. And then the contrast colors, so for the stripes I'm using, she used to have like a club, mill yarn club thing going on that she doesn't really do anymore, but this was one of the club colors, so it's unnamed, but it's this really dark purple, almost dark brown looking purple. Let's see, it's got bits of like beige and dark blue. I really love her milled yarns. They're non-superwash. It's non-superwash wool, and it does feel like non-superwash wool, but it's still like, I don't know, soft. Like I would say it's on the softer side of non-superwash. But yeah, it's so pretty. It's really hard to see like the bits and all the little details that's in there. Maybe you kind of see it there. But yeah, it's really lovely. So that's what I'm using for the test knit. You could kind of see how the Afterlife knits up. You could see that pink bit, those pink bits that I was talking about, a lot better in fabric form. And I don't know if you could really see on the stripes, but this is how the stripes look. So yeah, if you're wondering why there's so many little markers for decreases, so let's move on to what I changed. So I'm knitting this to pattern, obviously, because it's a test knit, but except for the sleeves, because my arms are very, very short, the sleeve that it called for would be way too long. I feel like it would be maybe like 1/3 longer. Yeah, it would be way too long. So I had to fix it up a little, or like revise it a little bit, but not really. I'll tell you. So the upper arm, she has when she writes the pattern, she has an upper arm portion and a lower arm portion. So for the upper arm, I knit it according to pattern because the pattern calls for the upper arm to end about 2 inches, 1.5 to 2 inches below your elbow, which it does. So I knit it to pattern. But then the lower arm portion, so the portion that goes up to your wrist, she recommends that the cuff ends at the end of your wrist. So in order for me to do that, I've had to decrease quite rapidly. She does have instructions and like recommendations for like wider sleeves, like if you want wider sleeves, like how you can go about that kind of thing. But I do like having a dramatic sleeve, as you can tell. So I do kind of like, it kind of looks weird. Like it looks like a bit triangle-y like this, but I tried it on. Maybe I could like stick my arm in and you could kind of see how it looks. But it just still looks weird. But because it has like this long dramatic cuff, so this is the Merino version. The other original version has like a bit of a shorter cuff, but this Merino version has this dramatic cuff here. And so I thought it would be kind of nice to have a bit of a dramatic increase, and then it kind of like grows into your arm. It doesn't even look that dramatic when you wear it properly. It looks kind of weird right now because I'm just shoving my arm in, but anyways, it worked out. So the lower arm, I knit half the amount of recommended rows, but with the same amount of decreases, which means that the decreases are quite rapid here. If you knit to pattern, it definitely won't be, the decreases will make a bit more of a, what do you call it, like be more subtle, I guess. But I kind of like how poofy it looks. So yeah, that's the only thing I changed. And this way it's just about at my wrist length. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing on here. I'm currently doing the upper arm, and yeah, so it's nice because once you do one arm, you kind of know what to do for the other arm. You don't have to figure things out again. So I'm just kind of flying through the second arm, and then I will be starting the body, and then I'll have to do the buttons or the button band. But yeah, it's going. This is due like, I believe November 11th. So I have a little bit of time left, and this is the one that I'm like mostly working on. This is like my main project. So yeah, that's the CardiJumper test knit by Vert Knit. Next up, so I am working on the Stephen West MKAL. I told myself I wouldn't, and then I saw the clues, and then I was like, okay, I have to do especially after all that, like, you know, the hubbub around it. I really enjoyed how people kind of made their own interpretations of clue 1. I wanted to join in. So if you do not want to be spoiled by any of the things that I'm about to show you, you can go to this timestamp here so that you don't have to be spoiled. So I'll see you later. But for those of you who do not mind being spoiled, so here it is. This yarn you've seen before on my, what's it called originally? I was using it for, for the Brioche Mode shawl by Sosu Knits. That was also another MKAL, but that I didn't end up finishing because I like royally messed up the stitch count on that thing and I had to stop. But anyway, so I've taken the yarn from there to use on this because as you probably know, Stephen West MKAL called for a gradient, but it's kind of like a loose gradient. Like it doesn't have to be like a true fade, you know what I mean? So anyways, I thought this would be perfect. So I have these, this, and this. So it's kind of a gradient, but like not a true gradient. So let me go through. These two are from Coast to Coast Yarn Co. It's from like a mystery pack that she had, so I'm not really sure what the colorway names are, but I believe they're from her Ratchet collection from a while back. So these are, so it goes from A, B, C, and then D is the darkest. So A and B is from Coast to Coast Yarn Co. This one is Azurite from Uncommon Threads. It's just this bright navy, like true blue kind of. And then the darkest color is NBK Knitting. I believe her colorway name is what is it? Sailor. So it's just like a dark navy blue. You could kind of see like the contrast, this like a bright almost neon blue, navy blue, and then this is a more like muted navy blue. So yeah, that's what it looks like. So I'm currently still doing clue 1 because I'm mostly working on my CardiJumper, so I'm quite behind. So this is what it looks like. I am doing the mod from, what was her name? Pink Queen Yarns on Ravelry. She has a modification instructions up on her project page that Stephen West has okayed for her to share. So you can look that up on Ravelry if you'd like. Oh, there's some yarn on here. But it's pretty much hers. Hers has it so that you kind of change the starting color to start with every single, how to explain this? So like this starts, this one, this triangle starts with color A, this triangle starts with color B, and so on and so forth. But instead of having like a spiral kind of look, I just wanted 2 color A's, and then this is so hard to hold, I'm so sorry, but and then 1 color B here and 1 color B here, so it's kind of like mirrored on either side, if you know what I mean. So kind of like hers, but not really. I just kind of like that look better, like an offsetted square. So that's what it looks like. I do really love how the gradient looks. I think it's so fun. So it's not a true gradient, but it is kind of a gradient. I love how this pop of green looks on there. But yeah, I saw the clues for, I saw the spoilers for clue 2 and I'm really excited to work on that. I'm kind of debating whether I should, because he has this thing called a Mohair Dare where he challenges you to include a bit of mohair in your project, and I'm like, that sounds really fun. I just don't really know what color I would do, but yeah, we'll see. We shall see. So that I've been kind of like working on this when I just need a break from sleeve knitting. Oh, this is the wrong side. I've been holding down the ends using the weave and steven method. So I'm putting in ends as I go, being good. But yeah, this is the main thing. So yeah, that's been fun. Just been knitting away at that when I feel like it. I'm not in a huge rush. I don't mind being spoiled. I just like, I kind of feel like at this point I've realized that I'm not really a MKAL type of person. I do like knowing what I'm going to be knitting, especially if it's a shawl. I'm not sure. It's just like, I just like to know what I'm knitting. And I do like the idea of a MKAL, but in the end, I want to know what I'm getting myself into. And so I think this is good, like taking my time and like just being up to date on the clues and just spoiling myself, I guess, is totally fine with me, because then I could be like, I could plan ahead a little bit. Like, do I want to do the mohair dare? Do I want to use this color or that color? Like, it just gives me like a little bit of the control I need to make my knits, which I enjoy. And so that's just how I'm gonna go about it. I'm not really like a dive in head first, not knowing what I'm making type of person. So yeah, that's the MKAL by Stephen West. And then one last little whip is this sock knit that I'm usually working on when I'm on the train. So right now I'm on the second sock, which is why it just looks like a little loop. I'm just using Haya 9-inch circulars, like, is it 6-inch or 9-inch? Little small sock circulars, you know, US size 1. But I'm making the first socks by Melody Hoffmann, Bee Mandarins. It's just a tube right now. I have a pre-thought heel, so instead of an afterthought heel where you just knit a tube and just cut into it, or did I say what did I say, pre-thought? I don't know what I said, but this is a forethought heel, so you think about it beforehand. So since this pattern itself is a obviously patterned sock, has these, like, I don't know what you call that, carried over stitches, like I don't know, I don't have an example, but you pretty much just leave this yarn over and then you like pick it up at the next row. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, you have this pattern here, so you can't really make like a true stockinette tube and just not care. You have to know when your heel will go in, obviously. So I have had I've knitted this before, way back when, maybe like 2017-ish, a long time ago. It's quite an old pattern, so I kind of know like what I'm getting myself into. So, and I've also knitted so many tubes for socks that I kind of know like the length that I like, where I like to place my heel, and how many rows I need for the foot before I start the toe. So if you have not done a sock tube before, I do recommend like maybe making yourself a regular stockinette sock tube, just so you can have like a set, figure out like how many stitches do I need for the foot, how many stitches or how many rows do I need for the foot, how many rows do I need for my cuff and my heel, not my heel, for my leg, because everyone's different. And so I do have like a set cuff, oh my gosh, I keep calling it a cuff, the set leg length that I like, the set foot length that I like, so I went off of that. And it's kind of obviously hard to try on because the heel is not there, so it's just a scrap yarn indicating where I'm going to put the heel. And once you hit that spot, what I did is I knit half the stitches in stockinette, where my foot is going to go, and then the top half I just continued the pattern, and then it's just a stocking and toe. So this is a cuff down, and you can't do, you know, one long tube and cut it in half to make 2 socks. You have to obviously make 2 separate tube socks, because then one of the socks will be going the wrong way. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that's not confusing. But anyways, I finished 1 foot almost. I still have the heel to do, but I think I'm gonna just do the heels at the same time. And then this is the other sock. I'm currently doing the cuff. This yarn is another old leftover from a sample kind of yarn. This is Lagoon. It is one of my first colorways. It's just this sea foamy green color. So yeah, I just thought it would be cute because it's fur socks, like a fir tree. So I just thought it was cute with the little light green color going on. So I'm just knitting that on the train when I'm just waiting for my stop. So that's that. That's all my whips, I think. Let me see. And then also I still been spinning. I don't know, I don't think I've shared it last episode, but maybe the episode before that I shared how I was still doing this 2-year-long spinning project. I'm still working on it. I'm almost done with my singles. I just haven't brought it around because there really isn't much to say about it since I've talked about it before. I've just been spinning the singles. I'm almost done with it, and then I'm going to do the 3-ply. I'll probably bring the project over when I finish plying everything. But yeah, that's pretty much it for whips. I do have some acquisitions. So recently I went to the Hakata yarn market, which is just like a little pop-up in a mall that happens I think once a year, but some Japanese yarn shops or yarn dyers, they put their wares on a table and you could kind of just like go around and take a look at it anytime it happens. Like, it's a month-long pop-up, and it's not really like a market where they're all there kind of thing or vending. It's just kind of like they have tables laid out in this event space kind of thing, and you can look at it whenever you want. Anyways, so I went there and checked it out, and I got a couple of things. So first one is this. This is Itoricot knitting. This cute little band. This is the Mohair mix. It has mohair, wool, nylon, and acrylic. This yarn company, I don't know if you can see that there is multiple plies in here. I think there's maybe like 4 different plies of yarn, but this yarn company makes these cones where they make kind of their own, I don't know how to explain it. It's not like they're making the yarn, but they're making their own. They're choosing the plies that go into the yarn to make these yarn cones. So they have like sock yarn, and they have just like regular wool knitting yarn and things like that, but they all have like these different plies that they choose, and they have like different color mixes. It's really fun. So I got the mohair one. I originally got it because I was thinking I could make myself a new cumulus blouse. I do have one old one from like 2018 that I still really like to wear, but you know, I was thinking maybe I could have an updated one. But then now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like this would be really cute as a cloud bow dress, maybe like a neutral looking one. I don't know, I'm still thinking about it. I don't know if I feel like I would have enough to make like a long tunic instead of like a full dress, obviously, because this only says 250 grams, 800 meters. So I'm not sure. I don't think it's enough for a dress, but I feel like I could make cloud bow tunic or a short dress maybe. But yeah, it's just this really cute, it's like a warm gray. It's got like a ply of like beige and gray. I don't know if you could see that, but yeah, just like a nice neutral color. And then another thing I got is from Nona yarns. They're a yarn dyer here in Japan who does, well, I think it's actually a yarn shop, but they usually work with cotton yarns for tamari balls. So like tamari is like a little, it's like a little toy ball, but a lot of people like to make decorative ones. And maybe I could like put some photos up to show you, but the string that you use to make those decorative balls are made of cotton. So a lot of people like to dye yarn, or I guess they're kind of like threads, dye threads for that, but they also dye yarn. So, and it's all naturally dyed. So this is dyed with rosemary and cochineal, and it's 100% Rambouillet Merino wool. And it's this really lovely, it's like light olive green with like hints of pink, I believe, from the cochineal. So you can kind of see that. And it came in like a little set. So it came with this little cute little fabric bag that I believe is also, it looks like naturally dyed with flowers. It's got their logo on it. But it's just this really cute little set, and I really liked the bag, and I thought this would be nice for like maybe some kind of contrast color for a color work would be really nice with this. Or I could just make like a beanie or something. We'll see. But yeah, got this from the market. What's it called? Hatakata yarn market. Yeah. But that is it for my knitting. I'm gonna go into the reading portion or book portion of the video now. So if you're not interested in that, you just came for the knitting, thank you for watching. But if you are interested in reading and what I've been up to in September, stick around. So I've got my list here. I've had a pretty successful reading month in September. I've read quite a lot of books. I read 26 books last month, which is a lot. I don't normally read 26. I feel like I usually read like 13 or 14, so I don't know what happened. I did read a few graphic novels though, so that might be why. But that was only like 3 graphic novels, I'm not sure. Anyway, so 26 books, 14 of them were audiobooks, and then the remaining 12 were in ebook or physical form. So I listen to a lot of audiobooks when I'm dyeing yarn or I'm packing. So it might be because I was packing so many orders this month, like that might be why. But anyways, yeah, so because of the amount of books that I read, I will only tell you, I'll do my usual 5 stars and then like notable 4 stars, or just like notable things in general. So my first 5-star read last month, I read A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers, and this ended up being like my pick for I do like a book bracket of my favorite books. I'll put a photo, my updated photo here. So I chose this as my favorite book of September. It was just like so cozy. I do highly recommend reading it like around this time of year. I feel like it's a very cozy read, like just inside and out. The main character is a tea monk, so kind of like a therapist but with tea. So very cozy. The main character is non-binary, and I feel like I don't really read a lot of, I feel like nowadays there has been a lot more non-binary characters that have been in popular books nowadays, but my main character is binary, but non-binary, and the world is set in a post-apocalyptic world, but instead of it being like this dark, terrible, difficult to live in place, like post-apocalyptic, like, yeah, like everyone's struggling, that kind of thing, it's post-apocalyptic in a way where everything turned out nice. Like, it was just like such a nice way of thinking that the world can turn out to be, like, where people can be kind and people can live in harmony, relearn to live in harmony with nature and to be kind to each other and to live in a way where we're not always on the grind, like capitalism, blah 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 blah. It's just like such a nice little respite from all of that kind of thinking, and also from all the, you know, end of the world, everything is chaos kind of books that I tend to read. So yeah, it was just really nice. But the main character, they are trying to figure out what they want to do in life. They were originally, I forgot what kind of job they had originally, but they ended up wanting to be a tea monk, which is kind of like you brew tea and you talk to people and listen to their troubles, and like, I don't think you really give advice, but just be there for them, and that's the job, to be a tea monk. So they decide to do that, and they like make like this really cozy little like caravan thing, and like they meet different people and they try to figure out what they want to do and all this stuff. And then they also, I forgot to say, is the reason why it's post-apocalyptic is because all the robots that are in factories all leave because they want to live in nature. Like, they just leave humanity. They're just like, they just peace out and they just go and they just leave, and humans have to figure out what to do without machines, essentially. And all these machines end up being like self-aware and also they all want to be in nature and want to enjoy nature, and so they live in nature. And so that's kind of like the dynamic that this world is in, and it's just like such a sweet story. Anyways, I went way too long about it, but anyways, it's a very sweet story. It's very short, so if you're looking for some cozy read that warms your heart, I highly recommend this. Yeah, it's A Song for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. And then the next 5-star read is another Becky Chambers. So I think I'm a big Becky Chambers fan now. I think I've read a couple of her books before, but yeah, I've always liked her novels. But I read The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, and I loved it. I listened to this as an audiobook, and I just thought it was just such a fun, heartwarming. She's just really good at heartwarming stuff, I guess, and like sci-fi. Heartwarming, cozy sci-fi. But The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet is kind of like found family. It's kind of like Space Odyssey, so like, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy, it's all set in space. It's like that. And it's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's like found family, like these I don't want to say people because there's different creatures, aliens. They all like come together in this team where they have to work together, but you know, they all love each other as a found family type of deal, and they have to like make this quest or journey together. That's the type of vibe it is. And I just really love found family type of stories, and this is one of them where all the characters, they're all quirky, they all like, you know, make snipes at each other, there's a lot of banter, there's a lot of friendship, there's a lot of love, and then there's just, you know, journeying through space and time and all this stuff. And so it's just like a fun, action-packed, but also warm-hearted story. So if you're interested in cozy sci-fi, I'd also highly recommend that to you. Another 5-star, this is the last 5-star I've read, is Thistlefoot by Jenna Rose Nethercott, and this is not really fantasy, it's more like magical realism where weird things happen and people don't really care. Is that Thistlefoot is about these 2 siblings who are descendants of Baba Yaga. So if you know, I think Baba Yaga is, I'm not sure where this legend originates from. I'm not really knowledgeable about legends and myths and things like that, but I know of Baba Yaga, and she lives in a house with birds' feet or chickens' feet at the bottom. And so it's kind of like a play on that, where they are descendants of Baba Yaga, and they mysteriously, after their great aunt, like their great aunt wills to them this house that stands on chickens' feet, and they kind of have to, there's also like an evil entity that's trying to destroy the house, and they kind of get into this whole thing. I don't want to spoil, it's pretty like hard to describe without spoiling anything, so I won't go too far into it, but it's a very fun, very, I don't want to say heartwarming because it is very sad. It's a sad story, but the growth that the characters go through, the type of characters that are in this, and even like the house itself, I don't know. I think the 5 stars that ended up for me, the books that ended up being 5 stars for me ended up being cozy, because the descriptions of the house is very cozy. And so it's just like a fun ride, but also kind of hard hitting at times. So if you're into that, I recommend Thistlefoot by Jenna Rose Nethercott. Any notables? One notable is Beloved by Toni Morrison. This is my first Toni Morrison book. I haven't read any of her books before. She's a Nobel Prize winner. I'm sure many people have heard of her, but I read Beloved, which is one of her most famous works, and it was really sad. And it also took a turn. I thought it was just literary fiction, but it has some magical realism sprinkled in. I will say that. I didn't know that about her books. So it's about, it's set in antebellum times. There's still slavery, and the main character, I forget her name, she is a slave who runs away to be with her children that she sent to the north before her. She is pregnant with another child. She has 2 boys, a girl, and she's pregnant with another child. She sends the 3 children ahead of her to the north to be with their grandmother, who is freed, and she runs away from her plantation to be with them. She goes through stuff, obviously, and somehow the daughter that she sends out, she's still a baby, she passes away. You know this from the beginning, that she has passed, and she has a gravestone that has Beloved written on it, which is why the book is called Beloved, and she is only known as Beloved. And so she she has passed as a baby, and you don't know why or how, but you kind of figure out the history of the mother, like the history of the family, like the things that she has had to go through, the things that the people around her has had to go through, and the aftermath of all this pain and suffering that these runaway slaves had to go through. Pretty much, it's just sad. It's just really sad and hard to read at times, but I think it's like a very important part of American history to read. And it's also I haven't read a book like it ever. Yeah, especially because of the bits of magical realism sprinkled in. I think it was really well done, and done really well in a way where it really hits home, like these difficult and hard to even imagine types of pain and suffering that these people had to go through. So anyways, it was really well done. I didn't give it a 5 because I kind of got bored in the middle. It gets a little, it's a lot of talking, so it's a lot of just reminiscing, which is nice, but also gets a little slow. So because of that, I gave it a 4.5, but I feel like it would have been a 5 otherwise. Another fun read, let's see. Another 4-star would be, let's see. I'm trying to think. I read Yellow Faced by R.F. Kuang, which is just everywhere. I gave it a 4-star. I thought it was really fun. I really like reading from the perspective of like the bad guy, like the person that you're not supposed to like, just like how they think and like their reasoning that just doesn't make sense. And it was just like a fun read in that way. I didn't give it a 5 because there were some parts where I was just like, it was just very repetitive. Like it's about, if you don't know, it's about a white author who witnesses her friend who is an Asian author. She dies in the beginning of the book, accidental death. She sees it happen. She's like, oh my gosh, the Asian author is a best-selling author. She, you know, is really popular. All her books are bestsellers. You know, she's famous for her work, whereas the white author, she's not really that well known. And so then when the Asian author dies, her friend dies, she is like, oh my gosh, what should we do? But then is sad about it, but then realizes that the Asian author has left a manuscript for her next book on the table in her office, and she takes it and she makes up a racially ambiguous pen name and publishes it as her own. And so that's like the aftermath of that. I gave it a 4 stars because she's pretty much just like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I did this bad thing, but also here's the reason why I did it. That's like that for like the whole book, and it got a little long. Like I wish it was a little shorter, but anyways, it's a fun read, so I gave it 4 stars. Another one that I liked is, let's see, I read a little novella by T. Kingfisher. I'm a huge T. Kingfisher fan. I will read her grocery list if I had to. Like, I love anything she writes. So, T. Kingfisher, Thorn Hedge is a recent, I think it's a recent release. It's a novella. It's very short, quick read. It's kind of like a Sleeping Beauty retelling, but in the perspective of the fairy who creates the thorns that go around the castle to prevent the castle from being entered, and how maybe she's doing everyone a service for not letting people go into the castle, because maybe what's inside the castle shouldn't come out. So that's fun. That's a fun 4-star read. I really liked the characters. T. Kingfisher always, I just love the characters that she creates and like the banter that they have. Like, it's just so good. So that was a fun 4-star read. But yeah, I think I went on for quite a while. I think it's been like an hour of talking. So I will end it here. I do have my Goodreads account linked below if you're interested in seeing like everything that I've read. I log everything there, so feel free to friend me on there or follow me on there. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I need to drink some water. My throat is getting a little dry. I will see you next month. Please let me know what you've been reading. Any cozy sci-fi fantasy reads, please let me know. I think I'm getting the autumnal cozy vibes right now. So if you know of any fun ones, please do comment down below. Let me know what you've been making. If you've been knitting, crocheting, spinning, dyeing, any crafty things, let me know. And yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you soon.